There.
We are now live.
Okay. I remembered my goal. We'll call this meeting to order. This is the regular school board meeting of the Glendale-River Hill School District Board of Education on March 4, 2026. Do roll call. Katie Avalos. Here. Daniel Bailey. Here. Chris Robinson. Here. Karen Cronwell. Here. And Carl Pennington Cross is here. Our entire board is here. Thank you, everyone. At this time, if you wish, you may stand and join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 1D, agenda approval.
I move to approve the agenda tonight as presented.
Second. Any discussion, any comments? Motion by Karen Cronwell, second by Chris Robinson to approve the agenda for tonight. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 1E, approval of board meeting minutes for the February 18th meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes for the February 18th meeting.
Second.
All right, any comments, revisions, edits?
I would just ask that we have to. Only one time, and I'm sure it's a spell, like just a thing.
It is.
I know.
Is it spelled with a K?
No, it's spelled with an M.
Always the
Like
M.
wants to spell it that way too.
Yes.
Oh,
On the splinter, I actually thought I was wearing a crown bell and felt really ridiculously close to the wedding, so.
when you saw the marriage certificate. Okay.
I added her name to my computer, so I wouldn't do that.
Oh, nice. Autocorrect to errors. Okay, anything
And
else?
do you need me to show you where it is?
No, I'm sitting here looking for it,
Okay.
so.
Anyway, it's just one. So that was.
And I think when I copy it over
scan
to
for the
board docs, it
assignments.
does that.
Okay, anything else? All right, motion by Chris Robinson, second by Karen Cronwell to approve the meeting minutes for the February 18 meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Under 3.
All right, moving on to 1F, meeting grounding, which Danielle Bailey has agreed to lead. Which it will be very short. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is just sort of reflective of it being Developmental Disabilities Month and other things. There's a quote from the Telepathy Tapes podcast, which I've been devouring and highly recommend for anybody who loves or knows someone or works with not people who are nonverbal or people with autism. I highly recommend. The quote is that there's absolutely no difference in the self-awareness or intelligence levels of any being. The only issue is how we humans measure intelligence. It's maybe controversial to some, there's a lot to unpack there, but I have been sitting with this idea because we, in our district and in public schools, measurement's something we do constantly, right? We measure learning, language, attention, behavior, readiness. And then from those measurements, we decide who is advanced, who is behind, who is typical, and who is labeled with disabilities, developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities, right? But measurement is not the same as intelligence, right? It reflects the tools that we've built, the norms that we set, the expectations we choose, what expertise, of that time or science of that time says, right? Which we know changes. So I just think it's worth asking, when a child doesn't fit our measurement systems, are we discovering a limitation in the child or a limitation in the system we've designed? And as a board, I think that's a question that matters pretty deeply, because the systems we govern help determine whether difference is recognized as intelligence or ability, or intelligence expressed in another form, or defined as a disability. And ultimately, our work is about, making sure every child is seen. So I think there's just a couple things in our resolution. I mean, our resolution is really good. Carla thinks she wrote it. I think I wrote it a few years back, and then No, but just, there's a couple things in it, you know, relevant to us that are our district that I think are just important to note. Developmental disabilities and disabilities are part of the ordinary and natural human experience. There are millions of people across the United States with developmental disabilities, including approximately 1 in 6 kids between the ages of 3 and 17, according to the CDC. I think we know and apply this to a lot of other demographics, but we know that there's growing evidence that inclusive educational practices benefit all students. And that's the same for inclusive educational practices to support students with disabilities. It supports kids without disabilities. And then the last piece is just what we actually had resolved, which speaks to me because we said, be it further resolved, we strongly encourage our schools and educators to continue providing instruction on disability history, including developmental disabilities, the disability rights movement, and to honor and empower the voices of our students and staff, and I'll add community with developmental disabilities in doing so. It's one thing to learn and to read and to research, but it is another thing to actually know, be in collaboration with, to empower a person with a disability to speak for themselves about their experience. I think the experience is where we all learn and grow the most. So that's all I got for us. It was like a little over a minute, sorry. But yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. That's great. All right. Moving on to item 2A, public comments. At this time, visitors may speak on any non-agenda item if you wish. Anyone online?
No online comments.
All right, going once, going twice. Moving on to item 3A, library plan.
All right, I am going to have James O'Hagan, our Digital Equity Innovation and Library Services Coordinator, present the 26-29 library plan. It was developed in consultation with Diana Knight, our licensed library media professional, for board review, and we are recommending approval. Note that it's a safe draft on it, and we understand that there's ongoing work that needs to be done around the plan, and it can shift. One of the reasons we're bringing it forward to the board for approval is we have not had a library plan in a few years now. And it is part of a statutory requirement to make sure we have a long range plan, but just like with our long range facility plan, there are opportunities for us to continue to revise and edit that plan. And as we know better, we do better, right? And so I think one of the key pieces is just really working to try to get that into compliance. So I know James has worked alongside Ms. Knight, as well as working with the Cecil One Library Professionals Organization. Where you have a specific title you guys call yourselves?
The library people.
As well as some consultation with the state DPI, that librarian. So just trying to work on getting us into a better spot to start to envision what is possible for our libraries and our school district, knowing that there's more work that needs to be done in that area, right? So James, I will turn things over to you to present.
You should probably have done this not.
Oh, did you just take over?
Oh, did I? Yeah, I apologize.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Did I kick you off?
You did, and I just thought it
Do
was
you
a
want to
flip.
replace it so you can see what's happening?
No, I'm going to, sorry, I don't want to go to the boardroom. I want to.
Will this show up in the video?
Well, I have the document up. I'll just copy where you're at.
Okay.
Okay, I apologize.
We have a rule that we don't apologize to each other at this table.
I
I just want to share that. You're invited into that rule, James.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now I just have to find where I put this. So as we are thinking about the library, first of all, my office, if you don't know, there's 2 libraries in the district, one at Glen Hills, one at Parkway, both very different spaces. I don't know if you've walked into them, but a lot of different activities are taking place in each of them, and one of the things I was first tasked when I got here was that we needed to have a library plan. As Superintendent Young said, we've been out of DPI compliance with regards to that. We needed to have a plan in place to report to DPI. But the nice thing about plans is they give you a lot of latitude in how you want to create your plan. They have guidance, of course. I was a part of 3 DPI meetings where they went through the various aspects of the library plan, so that was part of the professional development there. I have been in consult with Diana Knight, who's our certified librarian on staff that we currently have. And also I have a tremendous amount of experience coming from working in Rockford Public Schools, redesigning their library spaces. Racine Unified School District, I also oversaw their library spaces for 8 years. But I am not a certified librarian, I will say that right out the gate. And I think that is important to say because I do really believe that the position and a librarian, a certified librarian is something that we should strive for when we can have it here in district. But as far as the plan itself goes, I really look at this as a great opportunity for us to, because sitting off the library, I cannot tell you how often I see our space used not just by students just to come in and get books, but these are coaches who are pulling students out who want to work in the space because it's quieter than being in the classroom, or some kids who need a break, or we got Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts who meet there after hours. We've got different committees that meet in that space after hours. We got meetings that take place beforehand. We have groups that come in. I don't even know necessarily who they are at the time, but I'm here late, they're here, and it's truly a community space. And when I look at that, and I look at where we are as far as the district goes with our non-equity, our equity non-negotiables, and where we are as our pillars and what we are trying to accomplish in our mission, I really see this as an opportunity to develop this spaces as spaces, both of them, Parkway and Glendale, as environments that invite wonder. And when I think about designing these spaces, this isn't just about saying, okay, let's put more books and vary the collection. It is really about design drivers. And that was some of the things I took away from my time in Rockford and in Racine was we really even though Racine is a district that has roughly 30 different schools, every school has a unique culture about it and different needs that the library spaces need, just like Parkway needs a different space than Glen Hills does. But that doesn't mean the design drivers for that space can't be, again, tied to the work that we are doing here. And that really comes down to a place that welcomes and represents every learner. We want every learner to feel like they can walk into that space and that it becomes the space that they want to go to. And that doesn't just mean our children, that means our community as well as our teachers and staff who come into that space as well. We want it to be a place for inquiry, discovery, and multimodal learning, literacy, which is happening on a daily basis in both of our spaces. Where community gathers, listens, and learns together. I think that's highly important in our space, and a place that encourages curiosity, choice, and agency. As you can see in some of our spaces right now, for example, Glendale more so, because Parkway's had some new furniture put in recent years. It is a space where if I'm a young child, I can go in, I can find cushy chairs, I can find tactile toys. The Glen Hills Library is very much like a traditional library we probably saw when we were kids. The same brown furniture, the bookcases are immobile, though we do not want to try to move them in any way because I don't know if they will stay up. It's a place that grounds learning in culture, heritage, and shared storytelling. A place that embodies sustainability, care, and long-term stewardship, and a place that makes learning feel meaningful, joyful, and possible. It is, to me, a library in a school building. If it is working properly, it is a sanctuary space for a lot of kids and for the community as well. So, with those being the design drivers around this, and again, I went into more detail about this in the plan. I have 5 goals that I've developed in concert with, just like I said, observations, being with in the spaces, talking with staff, talking with community members who use it. We want collections, first of all, that are cultivating belonging and representation through inclusivity. We have in this state a wonderful program called the Common School Funds, which is money that is given to school libraries based off of This was written into the Constitution of the state when it was founded in 1849, where they said the land sales are gonna go to this.
Oh, this is the trust that we got the loan from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just got a metric boatload of money compared to where we might have. We were expecting about half of what we actually got. We got double what we expected.
We got like 70 something thousand, right?
Yeah, and that was because of the investments that turned around that were really good in the last few years. So we've been able now to really look at our collection really more closely. I myself and Diana and I have with other library expertise, as well as looking at places like New York Public Library, which is a tremendous piece of environment folks for children. Really looking to make sure that our collections affirm every learner's identity. We want a child to be able to walk in there and find themselves represented in the story, whether we know that they're represented in the story or whether they might be finding themselves and find representation in the story. Materials that should reflect multilingual and diverse perspectives. That was use student voice and annual equity audits for development. So again, looking at our collections, not just as mausoleums, but looking at them as living, breathing embodiments of who we are. And the goal aims to cultivate belonging through inclusive collections. That's really what I want. The second goal is we want to empower literacy as a tool for inquiry, voice, and justice. So strengthen literacy as a foundation for inquiry and civic voice. One of the biggest things I hear right now in instructional technology, we have to talk about AI literacy. I am honestly more concerned about the literacy of people in general. The ability to question, to push back, to look critically at things, to realize what is real and what is fake. And really, a lot of that work is done in literacy and basic literacy. Instruction will focus on source evaluation and narrative influence. So again, looking at where are these stories coming from? You know, making sure that we are not just putting books in because the title looks good, but ones that are based in reality through with when we're talking about nonfiction in particular. Literacy is an exploration that begins with wonder and thoughtful analysis. So again, giving them the opportunities to have a variety of different types of stories. Even creating stories of their own. One of the things that I know that we have a great Dungeons and Dragons program. I love play in all of its forms. And so one of the things I found out was a lot of kids were doing a lot of searches and getting filter hits for looking up Dungeons and Dragons things. I thought, well, why fight it? Why when I can have kids who can get access to these books and put them in our library where they can come and find those stories right there, they can create their own adventures. And this bill supports students confident and responsible participation. Students confident to competence and responsible participation. We also want to strengthen partnerships to extend learning beyond the school day. Having again, not just families and community groups that come into the spaces, but also I want to develop something with the North Shore Public Library. When I was in Rockford and Racine, we developed relationships with both public library systems. Where a student, for example, in Racine, could not only check out a book in our school library, but they could also request a book from the Racine Public Library, and that would be delivered to the school for them to get access to. And every student in our school district had a library card when they registered. It wasn't a question of, do we sign up for a library card? No, when you registered as a student with REOC, you got a library. It was just part of the process. And I really see that one of my first things that I did when I came, actually after my interview with Anna, the first thing I did was I went over to North Shore Public Library and I sat in the old library. Sorry, whichever direction that.
Now it's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
very far that way. We're on the complete opposite end of town. I want to be able to have the public library be able to come in here and use this space after hours to do programming. I really see that this becomes an extension space as well. Not just here, but Parkway as well too, especially if they're doing programming for young children. Create culturally responsive, consistent community partnerships, launch after hours library opportunities, promote literacy. And again, these goals are set to be implemented between start of next school year and 2020. Reimagine libraries as shared community hubs for connection and well-being. So explore sustainable models for shared community library access. As we are thinking about the future of this community here, there is actually statutes written into DPI where we could potentially look at it if we have a good relationship with North Shore Public Library, developing what's called a cooperated space,
Mhm.
where it would be a Glen Hills, or a Glen Hills, or Glendale River Hills School District, North Shore Public Library potential satellite annex, if we wanted to. I really wanted to look at that alignment to see if we can find a way to partner in shared spaces. Pilot monthly after-hour events in the 27-28 school year. And libraries will become reliable and welcoming entry points for caregivers. I really think that these spaces aren't just sanctuaries for our children. I think that these can be sanctuary spaces for our community as well too. And finally, the last part, I really want to make sure that we are doing a good job to measure and communicate the library's impacts to our community and to our stakeholders within it. So embed library metrics into district improvement cycles. If you look at the plan, I took every KPI that we had and we were looking at this year and wrote and said, here's how it fits with every KPI that we are looking at. Transparent reporting to strengthen academic and community outcomes. Publish an annual libraries in action report to our board, community and DPI, and share the data and narratives and student work with the library. So that is what the plan embodies. Now, again, I realize that this is the first run at the plan. And I realize that this is not, I wouldn't call this a 3-year and put it away and put it on the shelf and go, well, nice. That's not how I operate. I see it as a living, breathing document, just like any other good policy or any good plan should be. But we can look at this and revise it to this so that as we are working through this, that it isn't just something that we look back and go, well, that is not something that we actually did.
Okay, thank you. We will start with the boardies and then invite visitor comments. Daisy?
A really thorough report, and I really love the idea of expanding. They are great spaces, this one, you know, lots of potential there, and I like exploring it, so. And I do like that you pulled in all of these other resources to talk. Well, I would consider potentially, I know we're part of the Wellfare Library, but Whitefish Bay Library, it's all in the one. Public library. And Whitefish Bay Library is.
I keep hearing that too, but if we run tax base for the.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But that would, I guess, be a way to bring the library back closer in the Glendale.
Well, the good news is that when I was living in Illinois, everything was based off of your zip code.
Oh.
The one thing that happens into it, you didn't get access to it. In this state, I could get a library card I can check out books in North Shore, even though I've never seen. I can also get a library card in Milwaukee. So that doesn't to say we have to be library agnostic.
This is true. The current director of the Whitefish Bay Library is a former Glendale-River Hills parent.
Even more opportunities.
And that's Nyama Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, that's right. Danielle?
Yes, I have a few. This was amazing. I'm not even sure I've seen anything like this in my tenure on the board, so I love that and appreciate that this is a very comprehensive. That it's a living document. I love the idea of a satellite space. I mean, we're about to experience a deficit, having the library move, right? So I could see that being a really awesome community space. I was curious what we actually know about our library material inventory now. I know that like equity audits would be coming down the line, but like what is our handle on what is actually in our libraries right now?
That's a great question, and it's something that as soon as we can get done with this school year, I realized that when I started in August, it was kind of like get running. I don't know when the last time an inventory was taken of the middle school library or the elementary library, but I know we need an inventory, and that process usually takes a few days. If you have one person doing it, it takes about 3 or 4 days. If I can work with our current staff, it'll probably take us about 2 to 3 days. But we really want to do that at the end of the school year so we get an actual see of what is in the collection currently. We've also weeded out a number of books recently, using what's called MUSI. So it's an acronym that's like, well, I don't want to say moldies. I'm drawing a blank on what MUSI is, but basically, if you look at a book and you go, well, the hinges are falling off, but the pages are missing, cover is ugly, and nobody's checked it out since 1993. You want to get rid of that book, even if it's a very popular title, you can replace it with a fresher copy. And you would be, maybe you would be or wouldn't be surprised to know that a lot of libraries in the past were not weeded on a regular basis. I have been in places where I found a book from, the earliest I found was 1903. And this was from just a couple of years ago. Found a book from 1903 in a library that had not been weeded, because the belief was these are places where we're storing knowledge. But really, a healthy library is one that is regularly, the collection is regularly updated, modernized, and makes it more engaging for the population. And again, with the kids that we have in this district, we get an amazing opportunity to pick. Just like, I got to show up kids today. I said, look at all these boxes that just came in. We have new books. And these kids were like, they were looking at our collection for our disability awareness. So we got a whole new set of books that focus on disability and disability awareness. And they were like, oh my God, and they're looking at all the new titles of it. So it's something that is incredibly fun to do to get into this.
The audits sound like, I don't know if there would be a barrier, but a potential good volunteer opportunities, invite community members or students to participate too. Like, I would love to get in there now. That speaks to me.
It's a barcode scanner and scanning it. Basically, an inventory and audit is you barcode scan every book.
Yeah, but you get to see.
You get to see, that's where you do too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and like.
Does this smell bad? Does this look bad?
I love it. You mentioned a certified librarian as like a down that I don't like. I didn't see it in here as a goal or something to investigate. So is that like future, or where is the what?
James is gonna side-eye me because I asked James to take it out, because right now, walking into the referendum, I don't know how feasible it is for us to look at increasing staffing, I think, down the road. That may be something that's there. We're looking at a referendum to maintain current staffing, right? Not to
Yeah,
expand
I
current
got you.
staffing.
Okay.
So I did ask that, like, right now, but I do see the need for us to move in that direction. I understand that since I've been in this district, we haven't had adequate library staffing, and it's something that I would like to move to. I also know what our monetary restrictions are right now, and then trying to work with those and other needs. And so, you know, it's kind of thinking about, like, as we grow in some areas, can we move back in other areas so we can make that happen for our students?
I also wonder if that's another volunteer opportunity. I mean, I know we have these volunteer opportunities and forms, but I feel like there's probably seniors or retired certified librarians who may just like offer some support in that way. And when you talk about community collaboration, the like senior center below us, like how they might utilize these spaces. I don't know a lot about how they utilize the space in general, but okay. Thank you for answering that. And then
To that point, though, it doesn't, just like how we're thinking about the library specific to the needs of each building, you can also think of the librarian specific to the need of the building.
Mhm.
So let's say, for example, I know that we have a tremendous staff of coaches and support specialists in our buildings as well.
yeah.
One of the ideas I've been playing with is, what if the librarian, think of the librarian not as an additional coach. You know, they're the person who know books usually better than anybody. They know they have a grasp on literacy better than anyone. They know what kids are intrinsically drawn to better than anybody else at the time. And they're also great when it comes to, this is a safe space in creating that. It is probably, if you look at the library, don't look at the library as just a library. Think of it as the best classroom in school, where it can be anything you want it to be, or what can be with development. And I want to explore the ideas of, can we create if we were adding a position, I wouldn't want to just say a librarian. I would want to say somebody who, again, comes with some of those skills and can really make that happen.
Okay, I understand. The Wonder framework, what's the origin of that? Is that something that like was, I don't know, birthed through is it your brainchild in conjunction with others, or is it like I don't even know, like an a different framework, somebody else is what?
No, I noticed that that was a word that was used a lot there.
Oh,
And it's
it's like some wonder.
exactly.
But
But you think of, the word wonder is, again, it invokes thoughts of curiosity, it invokes thoughts of play, it invokes thoughts of exploring, and that's what the library, I think, can be, so.
I didn't know if it was like a curriculum or like a whatever, it's just where you're, I love that, okay.
Like a mantra, you know, tense, you will.
This is my last one, okay. This is, I don't know if this, what? I did a short founding, so I'm
I'm
more time to process
Go.
this 34-page report. Okay, I wanted just to point just to like some things that just caught me in terms of the goal number one, where is it? Goal number one, how this impacts DPI report cards. So there's talk about how Black and African American students underperform in both ELA and math compared to state averages, and inclusive collection support, contributing to achievement growth and targeted outcomes. Sort of similar thinking in the Parkway. And then there is like, there's language in here that says let me find it. Can't find it. It's like by exposing kids to the power of language, we will, you know, increase their Oh. Okay, well, the gist of it is, it's like, there is a spot in here that talks about like by exposing these, you know, underperforming kids to this, like, we think it might raise their, I don't know, test scores or cards, their achievement. And I guess to me, there's an assumption there that these kids, like, are we presupposing that they don't already know that language is power, or, you know, language can be a powerful tool? Are they not being taught this currently? So like, page 18, I wrote it down.
Oh, good.
It's smart.
I did.
Page 18, target group outcomes. A curriculum that teaches students to see language as power supports these groups through culturally responsive pedagogy and affirming integrated work. I mean, it makes sense to me. When I read it, I kind of like, that was my gut reaction. I was like, oh, if we just teach them that language is powerful. And reading it again, I'm like, it's not exactly what it's saying, but there's this idea that we're just not showing them how to value language or books, or that they don't already have that perspective, and that's why they underperform.
I can see where you're thinking that. My thought when I'm putting that together, and again, this is why this is a draft, you know that.
Yeah.
Is that I think they need to see it outside of the classroom too. Yes, getting it home and seeing that this isn't a school thing or a mom or dad are telling me thing, this is an everybody thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's that I was just trying to understand the correlation between an appreciation of ELA and like testing or performance, like as the root cause of low test scores. Like, I know that this can't say a goal is to eradicate systemic racism, and that will improve test scores, and, you know, because that is part of, well, it would, and that's not within our capacity as a public school. So I just, sometimes when I see these goals, I'm like, are we putting too much on this to move kids? Because, and we're assuming they aren't taught that somewhere else, or in the, you know, in their families. Like, I think a lot of marginalized groups understand that language is power, and, you know, like what you say or don't say. So anyway, it's just a feeling I had, and it's I just wanted to share it.
Oh, I'm definitely going to.
I don't think you wrote anything wrong either. I'm just like, it's kind of sort of how I processed it.
How you responded.
How I responded
Yeah.
to it, yeah. So it's not like the goal or anything is wrong. Expose kids to, you know.
Well, again, looking at it's not lost on me that I'm the only white male in this room right now, and again, and as somebody who did work with other people that there could be my own, I don't say prejudices, but my own presumptions on what that could be and how the wording goes, so I can absolutely adjust.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
I do not want that to come across that way.
It could just be a new thing, you know, I just wanted to say it in
It's
case it's not.
just a new thing, it is a new. That's valuable.
Thank
Right?
you. Yeah, anyway, thank you for hearing that. I really, this was so comprehensive, so impressive, and I'm so glad that this is where we're at, so.
So you went with wonder all on your own. I love that so much. I always talk about curiosity. So before the meeting started, we were talking about the difference between curiosity and wonder. I always talk about inspiring curiosity in kids, which is to me, but wonder is like, ooh. Curiosity is built into wonder, like, ooh. And I remember that feeling going into libraries as a kid. I read a lot. I did the bus, I did the library, I did the bookstores, and every time I went in, I remember that feeling like, you know, it like take me out of the boredom and loneliness of my life. So I really love that lens, and I see here just so much. Thank you so much. Well, I think you're right, and right, you both worked on this. Putting together a document like this, I think it's an act of courage because you're just. I know you're pulling from sources, but putting this out there is like a big deal, and I think it's a really fantastic start. I'm excited to see what comes of it. Yeah, I'm guessing we're gonna get annual updates or biannual updates and just kind of see where we're going.
State of the library.
Right. Specifically, I'm curious that, you know, you were talking about inventory and audit, and as I was listening to you talk about that, I was thinking those are two different things, right? Inventory is a list of book, but an audit is more of a qualitative look at
Oh, yeah.
what's present, right?
So
And
the
so-
inventory is just the physically finding out what is there in the audit. It's
Right.
like, okay, now.
And so
let's
thinking
break it.
about Lindsay, I'm sure we'll have some, maybe wanna share with us some views. Your email that we got, I've been thinking about like the idea of.
Oh, hi.
But when I think about an audit, I'm curious what, like if you're doing an equity audit, just big picture, what does that look like? What does that entail? What are you looking for? Like, where, do you have a source document that you look at that librarians use to say, this is what we're looking for in our collection? I just don't know. How does that work?
I could speak to that.
Yeah. This is purely a question of curiosity. Like, because I'm
Yeah,
really
like,
interested in it.
The database
I'm
for Destiny and for Tidal Wave takes all that information. And there are parts inside of the Tidal Wave that you can run this diversity audit and it will check ethnicity, racism, homelessness, like all these different categories. It will show you what you have in the collection. It will give you choices to update your collection in these different subject matters.
Interesting.
It's like amazing.
So it's a system
It's a
that
system,
has a full catalog.
It's, so.
tool to help you
Yeah.
build your collection in
So
different areas.
Follett, it, makes a product called Tidal.
Got it.
Yeah, and that allows for collection analysis. And it's free for us to use, it doesn't cost us any part of what we do, so. And again, it's not just, but it's also, and again, this is where the expertise of a librarian on staff comes in handy, because yes, you, just like people can use AI nowadays to try to code something, doesn't mean the code is gonna be good or the translation is gonna be right. We need that authentic person there as well too, who can look at that and go, well, yeah, those are some good books, but I got some better ones there, because I know these things here.
So are you thinking that that's work you'll be doing over the summer after you inventory, or, I mean, is that part of the plan or
That is, yes,
coming up,
yeah.
yet to come? Okay.
It's part of our, basically, it's an annual review of once you get your collection and saying, okay, this is what we need now to move us forward and how we need to think about our speed. The one thing I will say, one of our big things right now is, I did not realize just how big Japanese anime is with third, fourth, and fifth grade.
Yeah.
Especially, like, it goes all the way up, but like third, fourth, and fifth grade. So again, the collection, but in a couple of years, is that still gonna be a big thing. So as we're looking at, again, titles and evolution, the inventories and the audits are the things that are gonna help us evolve and keep it so that kids are still engaged in the space.
Anime isn't going anywhere. Nate and I are currently watching Jujutsu Kaisen. We're up to episode 12 of season 1.
I worked my way through My Hero Academia, which of course is a feature.
Exactly. Thank you, James. And Diane. Karen.
Yeah, so one question that just builds off of what Carla was just asking is, so the human being though, that is able to check for any kind of like algorithm bias or any kinds of accidental programmatic pieces that would influence and maybe misguide us, correct? It's, you know,
And that's a great point too. When I also, when I was building a number of collections, but it was relying on my library staff, I did go a lot in my librarians as well too. The public librarians as well, so they would, tidal wave, follow it as people who say like, these are the people that are coming down the pipe, this is our job. Yes, you can send us your collection, we'll say, here are some ones you can consider as well as alternatives, and additions to this as well. I gotta say, when I got the way I became a overseeing library, I was literally walking on an interview. And the guy said, you got the job, by the way, you're overseeing libraries. And I was like. But it truly has become, I've served now on Rockford City's school board or library board. I served for 8 years on the senior school, or not, senior public library board. I've been on the COLEN, which is the state council on library and everything development. So what if I stop walking a lot of people? So I don't know, I was surprised. So it's become just one of those things I never expected to become passionate about doing this work and getting deep into it, but it has been.
So to that point, I would actually suggest that there's also another opportunity for us to really collaborate with the city, the whole government, because we have a representative on the library board to do any of the stakeholders, but I don't know that that individual has experience. So perhaps that would be something that.
So we have somebody on the library board
Well, I'm for the North Shore Library.
but from here.
From the city, Glendale.
Oh, okay.
And I would just wonder if perhaps that would be like an opportunity to just offer that we have this person who has a lot of experience, perhaps at times. And also.
You are.
I'm on the North Shore Library. Excellent.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Okay, well, there we go. The North Shore Library Board, we have this really.
I would like to learn more about it.
I was super excited about all of your like after hours ideas. I think that could be amazing, and it's a huge opportunity for us as schools or both buildings or at our K-8 communities to be able to look at open doors. And I am very interested in that North Shore collaboration, and also I will be interested as that study develops to understand how we make sure that there's some kind of separation of how the community accesses the space and how we protect or hold sacred our other spaces. So it's important to hold, right? Because there should not be wide access to wherever.
Oh, no, you can't, we can't allow during the school day anything up. That would not be an option. We don't really want to sit there and pictures on there. But whatever.
And I did read that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like if you look at Parkway, there's a door, I mean, both of our buildings have doors in different spots, and people can access after hours, but we could not do that,
Yeah.
but yes. Then securing the rest of the space.
And then we have to be also concerned about accessibility for parking, like how is that, how accessible is that space? But I know that the North Shore had actually approached Nicolay at one point about being an alternate site. And so that conversation had already been at least thought through, and again, there might be some leader who might have similar insights into that. At the time, it would, because they were looking for it to be able to use that site, not just.
Yeah.
And see that what Dave has, the term I was looking for in my head was not cooperated, it's co-located.
Yes.
A co-located library space. Now, again, realize, conversation that I had with North Shore was with the director while she was getting ready to make the move. And it's like, can we talk again in February after we reopen in February? Yes, we have not had a chance to come back to that, but again, the wants on my end is to straighten that. So I realize this is politics.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces to it.
Yes.
I have not seen a document like this before, but I felt like this was an exceptional first experience. So I want to say it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to say thank you to you both and everyone who collaborated with. I love the emphasis on community and literacy and that kind of thing. Just one question, is there a mechanism for the school community to also recommend books?
Oh, yeah,
Like students, teachers?
I've gone to all of our teachers and said, I Like, what are things
Okay.
that you want to see in our library? I mean,
Okay.
there's no hiding. I am not the sole decider of what books, Diana's not the sole decider of what books they're trying to place in there. I think things about being intrinsically motivated to want to come into that space, to find the books that you want, that is, that's me.
And is there a mechanism if an educator is doing a particular unit to be able to place the call? Hey, I need a bunch of books on this kind of thing. How does that happen?
That can. We've had teachers who check out books for extended periods as
Mhm.
well. Realize though, when we're using school funds in our school libraries, you cannot use solely for programming within the classroom. Has to be things for library program. So we can't say like, say Mr. Allen is doing Petra the Rye with seventh graders, I don't know why he would, but let's say you were doing Petra the Rye with seventh grade, I need 30 copies, we couldn't use common school fund, plop them in the library and then hand them out to him, at that time. So, we have to work within the confines of the statute, but,
Okay, thank you.
but we can use local funds to purchase books like that as well.
Okay.
And we have a book room as well, here, which is separated from the library.
I inventoried the book room some years ago
Good.
as a volunteer.
That's a
In an
task.
Excel spreadsheet. No one told me there were tools. Okay, any visitor questions or comments? Come up, join us. Up here. Yeah, come sit with us. And you have to say your name and address for the record.
All right, so I'm Lindsay Smans, 405 West Apple Tree Road. I emailed all of you, hopefully you got it.
Yes.
Besides being a parent in the district, I also have a background in libraries. I currently have teaching faculty at UWM in the School of Information Studies. And about half the classes I teach are also taken by students who are getting their school library media license.
Awesome.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I was very excited to see this in the agenda because it is very much overdue for the school. And then I was very disappointed to see that there wasn't anything in here about having a certified school library media specialist in the building, in the libraries working. I understand we have somebody on staff and we put a lot of work, and that's all great, and I do love the plan, but I worried about approving a plan when I don't think we have the staff and expertise to actually implement. There's a reason why the state DPI has a licensure program for school library media specialists, because there are specialized skills and knowledge in the program that you don't get with the teacher program. And that's, the state DPI recognizes the importance of that. So I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. I feel like we're falling behind our peer schools. Bayside Middle School and Stormont Elementary School each have a certified school library media specialist. And our students are going into high school with their peers who have had some advantages there. The fact that the first time my son got any information literacy instruction was this year when he was a freshman at Nicolay. And he said to me, "Oh, now I understood what you were talking about all those years of what I was missing when I was at Glen Hills, because there wasn't a school librarian to provide that type of research help to students." So I just think that looking forward, I think that needs to be an importance. I can give you lots and lots of research studies that show the value of having a certified school librarian in each and every building. It increases not just reading, but also math test scores, interestingly enough. And so there is a huge benefit to student learning to have that.
I agree with you.
We totally agree with you.
We totally agree with you. I don't think there's disagreement anywhere at this table, there's just budget. It's a zero-sum game, right, at this point. I think that's how I think of it, right? In order to get the position you need here, you have to find a place to cut a position there. Or cut costs, or it's yeah.
And also, to your point, I'm not suggesting you're wrong at all, right? We would in an ideal world, and we have certainly also had other past district librarians who used to come and share with us, like, these are concerns. They're legitimate. We do also have some new talent in our district. I've enjoyed the collaboration. I think that these two individuals who are both new to our district have brought something that we have not had in the recent past for whatever reason, and perhaps it was just opportunity. But it appears as though there are some skill sets present now and active now that we have not had in the recent past, which I appreciate, that we can continue to build on. I think having that as a goal is important. There are, as I suspect you know, in the public school systems, a myriad barriers to work through, and how to prioritize those things is interesting. So yeah, I would really invite you to continue to work with us on how to identify those strategies and maybe access, I don't know if there's grants or anything, but anything like that that you can bring to our attention would be appreciated.
And I would love research. I would welcome articles and research papers. I would love to read them if you're willing to spend the energy emailing them to me.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I
reach out.
put it off, like, I was like, what's the latest one I could find? And it was a study from North Carolina.
I like
And
that.
I was surprised by the math scores too. That
Yeah.
showed you that it's at least in math scores.
I'm seriously. Feel free to email, contact me directly. I am with you on all this and I need everything I can.
Because I don't know what the specialized learning is that a certified library specialist gets, even topically. I don't know what information literacy training is. I don't know what your son is at.
My class in my collection management classes, we
So,
collection analysis.
Oh,
So
Excellent.
Better learning notes.
you have your students come into the collection analysis.
I just wanted to ask you, I guess, so as a community member, I mean, Anna, her response around, like, we do have this operational referendum and we have made a commitment to, not increase staffing, et cetera. And I'm wondering, like, is that satisfactory answer for you? Like, do you understand what, like, does that
I
make?
understand the financial.
No, but like the rationale, the perspective of like community members, if we were to, I don't know, I guess in the next year or two, say we want to increase staffing, but we don't have funding to maintain, our current situation. Like how does that resonate with you? Does that?
I guess I'm not understanding.
I don't like the rationale. Sorry,
This
this
is what I
to
discuss the need.
I guess I'm just curious, like, if that, because it's like, if everybody's saying we want this, but part of the barrier to even saying we want this now is the. I'm just, like,
I'm not sure what you're saying.
this happens sometimes, it's.
Bear with us.
Okay, yeah, I'll retract it, I guess I'm just, maybe this is a better question for Anna, because I'm thinking like, if the referendum is approved and we've got, how many years is it?
It would be a
4 years.
4-year referendum.
Does that mean that you would not be willing to think about adding staffing or hiring like a certified librarian once the referendum's approved?
No.
It's like, if it is approved.
If it were approved and we know that we are financially, because if it is not approved, we will have to make cuts within
Right,
the next
massive,
year.
massive,
Massive
right.
cuts within the next year, right? So when I think about that, I'm not in a position to say for this following school year, I'm ready to commit to that.
Right.
Right. If the referendum were approved, I think we need to look at our staffing, and I think to your point, there's a need to prioritize this within our staffing model and look at that. It's a creative look of like, how do we meet up with like other competing needs?
Yes.
And I think there's work that the administrative team can do in conjunction with looking at some of our data and along with the board's, approval, and look at that as well. That we could be in a place where we look at expanding in that area. I'm not comfortable saying.
Right, and I think this is a matter of time, because I think if we come back with an approved referendum where we're visiting state libraries, I guess that's where I was trying to go, is like, does that make sense to you that we will, it is a desire, but the actual discussion and formalizing it as a whole just doesn't feel fiscally appropriate right now or responsible.
It's one of those things that the district used to have and prior administrations decided wasn't that important, so kind of fell away. And now, I don't know, we'd love to have it, but because things have shifted, the money's just not there right this minute. But obviously everyone in this room wants that. So-
Happy to share with you too my draft, where I did advocate. What I did put in for like, and the importance of having those positions.
And I think part of the conversation is too, is that oftentimes this is an area where we look at competing needs, and we have mandated needs that we meet, that are required, and we're looking at how we can juggle those things in the most cost effective ways always. I think that to your point, it is a disadvantage for students in our district, right? And we want to advantage kids. I can think of a lot of ways that I'd like to advantage kids in their work as a public school, because there's a lot of things we do really, really well, but they could be enhanced. And I know that, so I appreciate that. I appreciate you advocating and having that be heard, because I hear you.
For me, it's a sad reminder that we're short-staffed on a lot of fronts, public schools, and it's 20 years we've been losing money. When I think about social worker ratios, counselor ratios, teacher interventionist ratios, everywhere, we're short-staffed and still just struggling to keep up. And I think in your shoes, I know what I would have done. I would have just showed up meeting after meeting and just heckled the board, and you are welcome to do that. You know, because what we get when community members come is we see what's important to people. We don't necessarily see that in surveys, so you coming and
I
sharing.
will say there are also at least 2 other parents who are school library. One who is coming to school library, maybe specialist is my student, and one who works at a neighboring district. Brittany, right? Yeah, Brittany, my first Brittany, yeah, she was great too. And then the other thing, because you had brought up the North Shore, library there, I will say, for a co-located library, things get a little bit tricky. And I don't think I'm speaking on behalf of the North Shore Library Board, because this is not something we talked about, but prior to being on the North Shore Library Board, I was on a Glendale Library Review Committee after Glendale had put in their notice to leave the North Shore Library. And as part of that, we looked at Nicolet's, but the issue was that Nicolet's service area and Glendale's are not the same. And you're gonna run into the same issue, that your service area is not the same as the North Shore Library, and then you have complexities in terms of who are you serving with that. You know, the North Shore Library will only support something that's going to serve all 4 communities. So just something to think about. It gets complicated because these are all joint ventures of multiple municipalities that don't have the same service area.
But that was for the Glendale specific one, and it would, oh, I see your
But I'm not sure what would prevent us from opening it up to North Shore residents.
It would, that would be a decision you have to make. I just think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the cost, whatever building costs are with that.
Well, they got. Okay, grand opening is March 14th.
Yeah. I just wanna thank.
Yeah.
And you said some things that are gonna stick.
Yeah.
And even though we can't do it now. You know, I wanna keep that.
We're gonna do it. One day we're gonna do it. I can't be here without it. We need it.
Diana can heckle you every meeting.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, like, I know you're doing work on this, but I'm sure your full-time job is a full-time job.
It is.
Yeah.
I think we're to the point now where with the draft, we can get more creative and collaborate with different things.
And thanks so much, Lindsay. Anyone else? Any other visitors have any comments or questions? Anyone on?
Nothing online.
All right, we've had a full discussion, let's move to a motion, if anyone wishes to make one. We'll have a motion.
I move to approve the Glendale-River Hills School District Library Plan 2026 to 2029 as presented.
Second.
Okay, and any further comments or questions from board members? Danielle and Celine?
I guess, we are approving like this entire document, right? Not like just the goals of budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in draft form.
It doesn't say draft on it anywhere though, so I think it is the plan.
I think it would be the plan, but recognizing it's revised
Yes.
as needed, it would come back. Yes, be revised, yeah.
It's just draft.
In
the title.
But it's approved.
And a
In
question,
the,
Yes.
would there be value in us adding a statement about the district's desire to add that position?
I don't do that. I have a desire to add a lot of positions, but yes, I.
We go to a specific library plan, and I feel like it's a
It is.
vision for how
It
we're
is.
carrying forward, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Maybe,
I wonder if it's something to come back to in the summer.
We definitely could.
Depending on the outcome of the referendum, there might be room and space to just
revisit that. piece
to
of it.
revisit that
Yeah.
piece of it.
I would feel more,
Perfectly fine.
I would
Yeah.
feel more comfortable at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're eventually, talking about long term.
Space is good. Okay, you comfortable with that? Okay.
I think.
Anything else?
He'll be back in April 8th. April 8th. He's like,
Right.
just
All right.
decision.
We have a motion to approve the library plan for 26 through 29. The motion is by Daniel Bailey, second by Karen Cronwell. All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much. Okay, unless there is any objection, let's take a 2 to 3 minute break.
Yeah.
Any objection from board?
All right. Snacks over here.
I heard you're there are snacks.
So my child Laura has said that it's twice you got.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
I am a huge kid.
I was thinking it's a high five.
Fiber shoes.
But I was from the research like this. Okay, both of you, are we having like personal pleasure?
Let's come back.
Lindsay.
We're live.
Cooper, Miss Commercial.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, are we back?
We're back.
We're back on?
Yes.
All right, moving on to item 3B, Developmental Disability Awareness Month Update.
All right.
Welcome, Kelly and Jenny.
Thank you. I think Anna attached related to Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, just kind of a handout, with some of the information that's being, just shared with teaching staff. I have struggled with this a little bit the last few years because like in honesty, sometimes a little performative because it is part of what we do every day and it's part of who we are and it is hard work. But it is the work. So this is just some resources we put forward for our teachers. Some of we have different extension activities or things for classroom teachers to think about or consider with their classes. In addition, there's announcements happening in the building once a week. So Tuesdays over here at Glen Hills, Monday mornings over at Parkway, kind of aligned with these overall themes essentially. I did meet with a group of volunteers. I just wanted to talk about what information we could put out or put forward for teachers. So they kind of threw some of these resources together with me as well, to share with our teaching staff. The resolution is beautiful. And I think it was both of you, actually.
Yeah,
because I
I think
remember, I
that's
think my first year here is meeting when you passed that resolution,
Yeah.
and then I think you
Yeah.
brought it back to life. One of the things when I think about the name of Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, I wonder if we should just call it Developmental Disabilities Pride Month. Yeah. Truly.
Or history.
History.
Oh.
I think Pride Month, yeah. I don't know, it's just a wonder.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me? The libraries each put together some books to display, which is really nice. Sharing information, asking teachers to upload, photos or videos of any of the work they've done in the classrooms. I think some teachers are having some of the special education staff come in and present. Some of that has already been done as the school year is launched, when the students have so many questions and we want them to, we welcome that. So a lot of that does kind of naturally happen at the start of the school year also.
And I just want to tag in on a little bit of what Callie was saying, and I have been having some conversations just around resolutions, right? And just kind of where does all of this live, right? Because we want to be living these. So I kind of have been looking at it twofold. So we do have the resolutions and then we have some like I have it in a spreadsheet, like the different months or weeks or where they live, right? And it's almost twofold in the respect that we do want to be educating students on the history, our staff on the history, our families on the history, getting things on the website, right? During that month or that time, right? But then we also want to be, and I can share, I need some copy. My thinking. Then the second piece to this is, are we living it, right? And where is it happening within our buildings, within our grade levels, within our contents? And then what types of activities do we have? Is it like a primary source, explicit teaching? Is it secondary? Is it representative? Is it historically accurate? All of those pieces, looking at that and doing an audit around that. I originally was thinking really big, like, ooh, I want to do this with every, I know, I want to do this with everything. But Anna kind of talked me down a little bit.
Because you have all the time in the world.
Right. But I had all these check boxes,
Right,
like,
right.
okay, it happens here, you know, in every grade level, everywhere. But we talked about really focusing in on ELA. Starting this school year with our new ELA programming for 6th through 8th grade. Starting to audit that because we were doing those unit internalizations, looking through it. So starting the audit in that section and then rolling it into ELA, all grade levels next year. I do see an opportunity to work with some allied arts as well. A lot of this is happening when we talk. I'm trying to help it, but I do see some opportunities to be looking at it in those other grade levels. So then how the spreadsheet will work is we'll be able to have graphs of where is this living and what grade level, vertical alignment, do we have some holes, and it can easily be sorted by resolution on the study. So I think that'll give us more transparency and more discussion of where is this happening, and then also doing some training for teachers, thinking about what type of source is this, right? And kind of working through those pieces as well. And it may not just be a source, it may be a discussion or an activity that is taking place, and it may not be one resolution, it might be multiple resolutions, right? So kind of like walking through those pieces with staff, just starting with that ELA currently. And I'll tell you, those units are really good in ELA. That was really picked with that equity lens in mind. So I think we're gonna get some good data going through that. So that's kind of the goal, kind of looking at that, because it's kind of twofold. So we have the overview, like the announcements, all of those pieces. And again, getting that out to community and on our website too, because this is who we are. And then where does it live? Always.
I love that. Can I start? Please. I don't know whose turn it is.
It's yours.
You're
the chair, whoever turn you want it.
In fact, first. I love that. Anna and I have been talking about this. I think it was your idea, and then Anna, I love this idea of like moving away from a monthly performative model and into this sort of constant lived experience, right? And some of that is, I mean, when you think about auditing and inventorying, some of that has to, you can't do that, and the teachers have to do that, right? And it's gonna move with the constitution of a class, right? If you happen to have a person with a certain lived experience, that may drive some of the dialogue in a class, and then that just is a natural place where that becomes an important learning space, right? That's lived experience and relationship building. So I love that idea. And then from my perspective, I would, in a dream world, I would envision, not that you're like fastidiously tracking, but that when it's Disability Awareness Month, it's a time that we come together to celebrate. Like, here's a reminder board, all the great work that happens throughout the year. These things we do to support our anti-ableist work, this supporting just, diversity in our classrooms, yada, yada. Because that would be really neat, instead of it being this sort of siloed. So I love that you're thinking about that. Because that's the dream, right? I mean, the ultimate dream is that we're just a bunch of humans, right? Anna and I were talking about this. The ultimate dream in a perfect world is that these differences only are, that they just are, because diversity is, right? I mean, that's what I've been thinking about as I looked at the teacher material, which triggered a lot of like intense deep thought for me. because I've been doing a lot of, I've been on a journey around ableism, right? We talk about anti-racist work and anti-sexist work much more easily, I think, in our culture than we do about anti-ableist work, right? I think we tend to see, because the way our systems are and where we are in that journey, that lag, right? Not until 1992 did we have disability protections in federal law. I think we still think of a hand down and a lift, just culturally, when we think about people with disabilities. And we've moved away from that for women and for people of color, right? I mean, we're there 40 years ago, right? When women were stupider, right? We didn't do as well on test scores. We didn't do as well. That's our story too, for all the women in here, right? We've overcome with this anti-sexist work is how I think of it. And so I have this sort of dream where we move to an anti-ableist justice model, right? And I feel like we can only do that when we just have these constant conversations, looking at the people in the room and treating people treated as human beings instead of as labels. And it's so hard because the labels are essential right now to accessing the services that are legally mandated. It's the only way we can ensure that kids get what they need. But that reinforces the labels, right? So I live in this it's just brutal, right? And so
I live that every day.
I know you do.
And
I know you
hearing
do.
Kat talked about even just the test scores. Sometimes
Yes.
you sit back and you live this every day too.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Well, you're doing what you have to do.
Sometimes you get lost in all of it.
I'll tell you how I think of it. I shared this with Anna yesterday when we were talking about this. What you're doing is you're preventing you're putting a tourniquet on a broken system. We're the tourniquets, right? You save the body and then eventually you take the tourniquet off and you make the next evolution. We're in that evolution, right? And so we're in that same evolution that we go through with gender and race and LGBTQ, like sussing out implicit bias, sussing out where I need to change the dialogue inside myself, right? And that's what all this triggered for me because, 10, 15 years ago when I began my disability advocacy journey, when I think about some of the things I thought and said back then, like cringy. I work to get away from a sense of shame, right? The ableism, the pathologizing of my children, of my child, the marginalization of her, the labeling of her, just all the things I leaned into because our system tells us to, right? In exactly the same way as racism and sexism and LGBTQ hate, right? It's exactly the same. And I think I love the work that's happening here. I mean, I used to feel like I was screaming into an empty well when I started advocating in these schoolhouses. And I know I'm not anymore. I look at this table, I'm like, right? And so I have this instinct like, oh, I got battle to do, but I have to fight that, right? I'm not doing battle anymore. We're all allies here. But I think we all have work to do as a group to identify ableism and bias, which is implicit. And I have thoughts around that. And I want to, this is not the space, I think, to share that, but I was hoping if you're willing, that we could sit down and go through like this 2-page document and I could give you examples where I see like sort of a biased lens.
I see. So
It's not a judgment. I just want to be perfectly clear. It's not a judgment or criticism. It's just I look at it and I think, I wouldn't have seen that 10 years ago. I remember like going to these trainings, learning from anti-ableist advocates and thinking like, weeping at home, I mean, it's really complex, but I love that we're able to have these conversations. I want to have them with you if you're willing.
absolutely.
So we can talk about some.
And I appreciate the push and sometimes we try to be aware of it and we miss it.
It is the nature of implicit bias that we don't see it. It's simply the nature of it. We swim in it, right? And I think there are, again, I've been down this rabbit hole, right? A lot over the last week. I don't know why. And just a lot of other things not involving this as well. But, I think the nature of isms is that they narrow how we see people, right? Black people are this, when in fact, Black people are people, right? Women are this, when in fact, women are people. And I think the same thing happens with disability. Disability is this. And so our job is, if we're doing that equity-based anti-ableist work, is to say, diversity is That is the human experience. Disability is a human construct, like racism, like sexism. It is a human construct based in norms, like what you talked about in your grounding. It just
It's a cultural construct.
right. It's a human construct, human cultural construct. Right. We made it up. In other words, disability is like, I mean, and we can come up with examples all the time, right? Like if I went into a classroom and talked about disability, I could talk about short. I am disabled in a grocery store, right? I cannot reach the top shelf. It is not because I am short. The disability is because of the way the shelves are built. That's disability, right? Diversity is I'm short and there are people who are taller than me. Disability is forced upon me. It doesn't arise from me being different. It arises from the system.
The social construct.
Exactly, exactly. And so I think again and again, it also, in this day and age, it's also about technology. I'm legally blind. I see clearly, like right about here, that I have corrected lenses. Technology has enabled me. I'm no longer disabled. Disability is a fluid concept, right? And so it's I have all these big thoughts. I would love to connect with you if you're willing, because I've been steeped in this advocacy for years and I'm excited. And I was afraid to say anything. Anna and I talked yesterday and I thought, why wouldn't I have confidence that you could hear me? So thanks for doing this work.
No,
I think it's fabulous. I love that we're in a place where we can have these conversations, because a decade ago I couldn't, you know, and
thank you. I
it's just
see it.
really different.
I see it.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
it.
yeah. You know, but it's not a judgment. I hope you're not judging yourself about it either. It's just what is.
No.
You know, sometimes it's just a feeling, right? You're like, like I read this like 2 or 3 times before I could identify where that feeling is for me. So, but still also the links. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole. I love the links in here. There's so much cool material stuff I haven't seen before. It's so exciting.
It was the teachers that dug up the links and
really cool. And you enabled it. So thank you.
yeah, thank you.
All right, I took up too much air. Karen. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Right. I mean, we do this all the time. We live in it. We lose perspective sometimes of it, right? Like it's very easy to feel like it defines it. It's easy to lose perspective. So thank you for this. And also sincerely, thank you. That one of my biggest concerns, as this table knows, about all of our proclamations, or I can never remember the word, is that they are performative. And so I really, really appreciate that you are not only like coming to the table each month to show us what that work is, but actually like, nope, we need to dig in and actually make sure that this district is living through what these things are doing. And having it, and I love the audit. I love that. I appreciate it's a big lift. I appreciate it's a longitudinal effort. And by all means, of course, that's going to be. And it will be a living, breathing thing because the personalities within our walls are going to naturally change how that works. But I love the idea of having that become an intentional practice of the staff. Because in that way, we are living, designing to the edges. We are living how we are meeting our kids and our families where they're at. And that is how we become universal and understand that people are people. So I just want to say thanks for that, because that's a tremendous amount of work. Not just with this particular month, but like
Always, all of them.
And the work drives you because you're hunting data in the work you do.
Yeah.
It narrows and you're overworked.
I think part of our conversation too is like, how do you build in, like when you think about like the questioning around the work that we do in PLTs, the work we do around unit internalizations, like we operate under a PLC or PLT model, right? There are generative questions there. Those questions can be altered to attune to making sure that we're honoring the fact. I think, what were you saying, Kelly? We're the 14th most diverse school district in the state of Wisconsin.
14th? I thought we'd be closer to the top.
I think that's work to do.
we're pretty, I mean, think of it, that we're
Oh,
autonomous style.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So like considering those things and thinking about the fact that there's, close to I think 321 schools in the state of Wisconsin, right?
Oh,
We have a very unique makeup and we have a lot to be proud of, and we have a lot to learn and a lot to grow and celebrate, but we don't do the work unless we're intentional.
Right.
And that still puts us in the top 5%. There's staff too, right? There's our staff.
Yeah.
Chris?
Thank you for this. This is wonderful. It's comprehensive.
No, I don't think so. I do appreciate though that you do bring this forward so we can see it, and I have to say, like to Carla's point, like the environment in this district, and I mean, I guess I really know Glen Hill's better at this point than I know Parkway anymore, but I know my middle child left Glen Hills wanting to know if she was autistic. Like, she didn't need services, so there's nothing that the district could specifically do for her. But because of the environment here, she saw that as like a point of curiosity and not a point of
Interesting.
like just like a negative. And so that's the thing that she's pushed for, and we're exploring with her now. I mean, it's really hard to get a 15-year-old tested. Like, we were on the wait list for the wait list for a year, and then 6 months on the wait list, so she's finally getting tested. But like, that started in this schoolhouse because she just wanted to know. She's like, I see that there might be other things that I could try then, you know. So she just wanted to know, and it wasn't like there's not like, it's not heavy. The label is not heavy to her. Whereas like my son, who was recently diagnosed and he's almost 20, it was really heavy, and no one ever. He didn't experience just that 5-year difference. He didn't ever experience in this house something that would encourage him to want to know that about himself, and he actually like took it really hard. Because it's just, and so it's wild to me how quickly that evolved and in a really positive direction.
Well, and it speaks to the power of schools to make that difference in the culture that we build and the access and the stigma breaking work we did.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Katie.
Okay. I was like a huge thorn in everybody's side, I would say, is starting resolutions when I first joined the board. And it's because we did not have visibility or transparency into the schoolhouses or curriculum. So it was intentional to be performative, to at least start talking about it, you know. So I that was the goal. My end goal has always been to have a report that says, yeah, this is this month, and we're gonna tell people about it, but this is what we do all year long.
Yeah.
This is how what you said, this is how we live in. Like, that is a lot of work, right? Which, you know, but that is, for me, that's where I saw this going. And I'm glad that we are, you know, steadily, like, we are getting there. But something that jumped out to me is like, talk about like teaching about disability and like curriculum and learning about it. But I think Disability Visibility, which is a really good book, could be a really good book for PD or just for, or even like community book, whatever. That is just short excerpts written by people with disabilities about their experiences.
Right.
And that was a major, that for me in my journey was a major influence. So I think that visibility, it's beyond just like teaching our able-bodied teachers or teachers who aren't touched by disability how to talk and teach and examine their bias, but it's like I know lawyers who have cerebral palsy. I know, like, you know, Cindy Bentley, your friend, Glendale resident. Like, do they need to come in and talk about disability? No. Like, maybe we're doing something else and we're talking about science, or we're talking about and I'm thinking like that is where
this is a great example. There's a lady who serves on the Madison School Board.
Oh, I know her, Nikki.
Nikki. Intellectual disability, which I question that diagnosis, given how incredibly intensely smart she is. She's a lawyer, member of the Wisconsin Bar, really intense disability advocate. She come and talk about law.
Yeah.
Right, if you're talking careers. And there you have a disability representation.
Yeah, so it's that folding it into like looking for those opportunities right outside of this, and to showcase people, you know, beyond a disability. I think exposure is just in all these areas you talked about, sex and race, and that is. And then the last thing I'll say is the longitudinal effort for the year, you know, living it. I love it. I think if you start with disability, you are casting the widest net to have a net positive impact on everybody. Because they, you know, that is really like, there's another book about like mutual care networks or community care networks. And it's just like thinking about how could systems be redesigned to support, you know, people with disabilities. And there's just a lot of stuff out there that says doing that makes things like easier for everybody, you know, and that visibility means like maybe I can question some other part of my identity and not a negative way, but a validating way, you know. Anyway, so I really, really appreciate this, and I see the work, and I'm just grateful to be in this district.
And I also wanna say the gratitude for staff supporting students that are encountering barriers. Because we have barriers.
Maybe that's the reality.
Oh, the physical, yes.
Just
Are even the classroom like there are barriers, and the willingness of staff to see the barriers or to hear students talk about the barriers they're encountering and do whatever they can do to make adjustments and try to eliminate those barriers to the greatest extent possible. And I am right now talking about physical barriers, but there are other
barriers and.
there are lots.
Yeah.
But we have custodians installing handles in the areas we didn't realize we were missing them, and being just like the custodians talking to the student who's like this, like,
Oh, that's nice.
it's, people are phenomenal and going above and beyond within our means right now to try to adjust.
Yeah.
But I do see student voices being elevated and them giving an opportunity to learn how to advocate for themselves and getting results, which is very cool.
I am, you know, what I started doing a handful of years ago is, you know, when I read about disability or write about or talk about disability, I ask myself, if I replace the word kid with a disability with Black student or girl, would I still be comfortable with what I'm saying? Right? Because I know I'm more advanced and because we've done a lot more work in our culture. And if that often highlights for me, like, ooh, like I would not say it like that about a girl or a person of color or, you know, all these other intersections. And I find that that's where I grow the most. And I ask myself, what's that?
Litmus test.
That's my litmus test. Would I say it like this if I was talking about racism or sexism or LGBTQ hate? Would I say it like this? And if I wouldn't, then I probably shouldn't say it about disability. Right? And it is hard because that's what isms are. It's really hard.
It's an opportunity to model like our own growth and acknowledging like, because the language in this field evolves and changes, and some people prefer people first language and some people don't. So I think there's nuance and like we're going to make mistakes, and that is actually part of our, you know, our core documents. And so I think this is that opportunity for us to model.
We have a national superstar living right here in Glendale. Cindy Bentley is like.
You're talking about your son.
I'm talking about me. No, Cindy Bentley. I mean, you all know Cindy Bentley, right? You know Cindy Bentley? Isn't that sad that we don't know who Cindy Bentley is? Cindy Bentley was, she's the executive director of People First Wisconsin. She was one of the earliest Special Olympics stars. She has a presidential Medal of Honor. And she grew up in an institution where she was just horror, right? She says she escaped as a young adult and has moved to life, and she's just an extraordinary human being. It always saddens me. She's like the MLK of the disability civil rights community, right? Right here in Glendale, and one of my best friends works for her, and we can get her in here, you know, do a PD next fall.
Absolutely.
Let's, you know, get the Cindy Bentleys, and, you know, I mean, I can just like list right here people in different fields who I know who are extraordinary advocates and teachers who could come, and it's hard. The first times I ever heard Cindy speak and a couple other people, to hear the things they're challenging me on is hard, right? You know, and it's good.
People talking in different ways and ways where you need to have patience. We're not, you know, like there's so much about our culture that is not built for disability. It made me think about our disability liaison.
I'm just.
I know, point of,
Yeah.
yeah, but it would be good to maybe like have him come next time.
Right, okay, anything else, visitors? Sorry. I think we're all just sitting here stewing in, you know, the love of this subject and just dreaming, right? Just sort of dreaming for ourselves, dreaming for our students. It's very exciting for me.
Is talking about teaching to the edges too. That didn't come up in this conversation, but I really appreciate it. And it kind of goes to Danielle's point that like, there are a lot of things we can do that help students who need a little extra help, but then they help everybody benefits. Yeah, yeah. We try to do that a lot in our house.
I think that's the way to get to community.
So you're gonna write a Disability Pride Month resolution?
I'm bringing it to the
Place?
next meeting.
Yeah, Disability Pride.
All right,
Mhm.
good.
Thanks for that.
Diverse,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Spreadsheet. Shared document, I can.
Do you
need a
needle-
you need a needlepoint pillow that says that.
And are one of you willing to sit down with?
I will.
Yeah.
I'm batting my
Yeah.
eyelids. I will reach out. We'll schedule
Okay.
time.
Thank you, I know you're busy, so. All right, I get it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Staffing changes.
I'm going.
We're still doing, okay, we're only 40 minutes behind schedule. Oh,
No, but,
I know.
Anna's report is 30 minutes.
No.
Not even.
Staffing changes.
All right, staffing changes, so, just, taking a look at, we had some resignation of support staff, which, per our policies, the superintendent accepts, resignations, but do want to bring forward some hires for you as well. So I've accepted the resignation of Tal Brooks, who is a special education paraprofessional. I am recommending the board approve the hiring of Larissa O'Donnell as a special education paraprofessional. And then also, recommend the hiring of Claire Bittner as a K-5 paraprofessional. And both of these hires are replacing vacant positions due to resignation. So that's what we're sitting right now.
Should we, is that a one resolution or a one motion?
You should do it as one motion, yeah. If you wish to.
I move to approve the hiring of Larissa O'Donnell as special education paraprofessional and Claire Bittner as K-5 paraprofessional.
Second.
Any discussion?
Welcome aboard. Barney.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries and welcome Larissa and Claire. Thanks for coming in our community. Moving on to item 6A, superintendent report, half an hour.
All right, here we go. I just want to update the board. First of all, I wanted, just to have some acknowledgement of the Black History Program celebrating 100 years of our Black History Month. I know the board was in attendance that night, so you were able to witness and bear witness to its incredible success. The committee was chaired by Michelle Young, and she did an awesome job of pulling together a cadre of teachers to help support the work. And I think the preparation and collaboration that leads up to that is also remarkable, because beyond what was done to produce the program, there's learning that happens in every single classroom, and every teacher in our building is carrying a load of what it means to educate students around Black history. And then the opportunity for us to share that with the greater public feels like a real moment of pride to see what happens when everybody does a lift, right? And what we can do with and for students, right? So in addition to the celebration, I want to also talk a little bit about some of the continuing support around engagement for the spring referendum, and some of the work that I have been doing. I've been getting weekly social media posts and short informational video clips out. And there's another one that will be coming out in our Parent Square communication as well. Completion of the spring and summer community newsletter. Diana and I are working really hard to get that in the mailboxes right now. And so we're hoping that that can get going and be out for the next week. We've launched an information tab on the district website, so we dedicated a specific tab to that contains an FAQ and information on it. I've met with a local parent in our district who does some of this work for the work that she does out in the community, and she gave me some really great feedback. We met for about an hour and a half on Friday, and so I was really grateful for her support. And gave me some suggestions about what she's hearing, her pulse, and things that need to be heard. So
Nice. I was gonna, temperature, I was just trying to see if the pulse was good.
oh, her pulse was really good. Like I think covering some of the points of some thinking around like some of the general school funding issues and what a broad swath of the fact that we have 85% of schools in the state of Wisconsin who are experiencing things that are similar to us, that we're continuing with what has already been in place. We're not asking necessarily for another huge it's continuing to cover what shortfall exists there, right? And I think, it was a good conversation around that, and she felt like a lot of the materials were really clear, gave me a couple tweaks to some things that were helpful, that I was like, all right, good, that's good insight. So I was really appreciative of her help and support. So
Awesome.
Yep. We also have some upcoming engagement opportunities. Also, Diana has submitted all the required notifications that will go to North Shore now. So those will all be published. So
I
people.
think one is going today.
One is going today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so those notices will go into the newspaper too for our constituents and people in our community who rely on newsprint for that information.
And WUWM did an article about us.
Yeah, it was really.
Yes,
precise.
Yes,
Precise, yeah.
Yep. We have upcoming engagement opportunities. I'll be presenting to the Common Council on next Monday at the March 9th at an in-person information session. Will also be happening here on March 11th from 6 to 7 in the library. And then Michelle and I will also be doing a virtual session on March 16th. And those invitations and QR codes and Zoom links are being pushed on social media and within our spaces to get that out to people. The newsletter also contains an area that just basically says if there's a group of people that you would feel like that you would benefit from having this information, or just want to talk about school funding or what's happening in our district, like Michelle and I are willing to take the show on the road too.
Nice, nice, I love it. Meet you where you are. That's really
Yeah,
good.
like happy to go, neighborhood party or,
Party. If I love to give me food and coffee, I will come to your house.
Absolutely. Yeah, so as long as we have strawberries, because I'm allergic, that would be my only caveat. All right.
I forgot.
My main error that first time, I was like, oh no.
Like ongoing things that we can do to help get the word out. I will say, Diana, what we had like 200.
Well, the last time I looked was 200. I'm sure it's way more than that right
Like
now.
200 hits on the video, so we are seeing that the video is really helpful. So any board members who feel courageous, I think I would really push you. Like people want to hear from us, and
I have done this, and then this is me trying to make.
No, we need to try it.
I just okay.
Well, or you can always have someone else film you, and
Right,
that's
that's
less
true.
awkward.
But we should do it soon.
Yeah.
We should do it soon.
Yes, we should.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and also perhaps we should figure out how we could collaborate. So I was thinking about that this weekend. Like, how are we organizing it? How are we making sure that we're covering everything that should be covered? How are we?
So talking points are in the timeline, right? And I think like there's some talking points in there on just, and the one that I put out was basically just saying like, this is the funding gap that exists, right? We know that in our district, we know that there is about $2.5 million in special education costs are unfunded, and we also know there's about another $2.5 million that are not accounted for an inflationary gap, right?
Yeah, more so I want to make sure that we cover that we are covering the bases and not all picking the same.
How about if you pick a topic and you do the video, just
Sure.
alert us all, like this is the topic I'm doing. These are, so then we'll know what's like left or an FAQ or something, and then.
And I also think there's benefit in repetition. I think
I
it's
don't think there's a problem for repetition. I don't want something to fall through.
yeah.
Oh, you want to cover it all?
Oh, right.
Well, we
Okay.
can go through.
Well, we could do Let's see
That's what I
what,
was wondering.
yeah, we could probably do what we do, and then Anna will tell us if there's a gap, right? Cause you'll be the one posting them to the district.
Don't feel like they have to be like so pretty. Just the information, and people will watch and they'll listen.
You know, there's another way you could do it hypothetically is two of us could get on a Zoom and both our faces are there and we just record it and
Have a conversation.
I would do that with someone anytime. You could even do that from
Practice
Mexico.
that.
I know, they can't, it has, I would say like maximum like 90 seconds. 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Whatever you want under
Okay.
3 minutes.
Okay.
People do not
We
watch
can
over
do
3
that.
minutes.
Let's just try to connect in pairs so that we don't violate sunshine laws, right? And then we would also have to remember that we're not allowed to advocate for or against. We're only, legally, we're only allowed to share information.
Can we like send them to you for like a thumbs up or approve, you know, like just like a, this didn't, or like, or do, or check for each other?
Well, you would have to send them to her so that Diana can post it on the, just.
Like saying, feel free to say, yeah, try again.
Yeah, like.
It's like, Carla, I got your, no.
Librarian.
Delete.
Less copy next time.
Okay, okay, yeah.
I think what you should do is just put them out there as is and see who gets the most hits.
Oh, that's her serious now.
Right, I'm gonna do it. So Philip's a friendly competition. I'll hand you up to do more of them. No.
I don't think you should be intimidated though.
So.
Look at Joe Paddock's, whatever, every week he does something.
Yeah.
They're just stripped down
Right.
information,
Yeah.
nothing fancy about it.
I'm sure Dakota will help.
It'll be fun. I like the idea of Zoom pairs. It's a
Mhm.
nice visual and then.
Yep.
Then you just record it, right? Someone would
Yeah.
have to
Yep.
know how.
And that's a great
You in,
idea.
Katie?
Oh, okay, but wait, are these going on next door too? Could
I
we
have
post them to
not
next door?
Put anything there in a while.
I know, but that's where the community is, that's not on.
But I keep seeing like
Facebook.
sex offenders and like weird stuff that's talked about quite often.
Well, okay, I might push you guys on that a little bit, but it would be a good place to at least put an invite to community members who would
Yes.
like to host
Yeah.
something,
Yes.
you know, like.
Right.
And then my other thing would be like maybe direct invite, like I can think of some parents that could probably get a group of like 6 or 8, you know, people together, we could do a little party or whatever. Like, I think the passive invite is good, but I think maybe some direct invites. And then are you able to send us copies of the notices that have been filed or once they're accepted or the prints or like proof of submission? Not that I don't have confidence that you've done it, but in the past we have had issues.
I mean, in the newspapers?
Yeah, the notices, sorry.
Oh, sure.
The Davids back from the newspapers.
Yeah, could those just be like a
Yeah.
documented share
We
somewhere?
we emailed them back to our legal counsel. We can just forward that.
Okay.
They're on the
That'd be-
budget sheets too, the money that we have to spend for it. It's
Oh.
there.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're done wrong. I know they were done right, that's not what I.
You just wanna see it.
It's trouble. Yeah, that was it, thank you.
Thanks for accommodating our meetings.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I've already seen the stuff that you wrote that. Appreciate it. And it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I had a moment, I had a moment the other week where I thought, I feel so busy all of a sudden. Like, not that I don't always feel busy, but I felt extra busy, and then I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, it's just enough to keep it a little bit.
What'll be interesting is how when you all of a sudden have that other vote in like May where you're like, am I supposed to be doing something?
I wish that I would ever.
That never happens.
And I realized yeah,
It won't happen.
very. Yeah.
I think there's just a layer of anxiety now until April 7th, right?
Sure.
Just this layer of anxiety, so.
Oh, the referendum.
Oh. But yeah, it's a lot. Okay, moving on to board preview and planning. Video.
March 11th and March 16th. That's all I got. Those are my big items here. The other thing that is going on that I did leave off of here, because I didn't catch it until today when I was working on some other communication pieces, is I believe March 12th, the Parkway Spring Superhero performance will be happening, so that's.
I will not be in town.
I know, me neither. I have told me. That will be happening. Now there's a show at 9:15 and one at 1:30.
Can't go. I'm gonna be at an undisclosed location by myself. In a cabin by myself
Nobody.
on my personal retreat.
I think you've said that twice on camera.
I'm willing to share. I'm willing to share that resilience grows out of, beating back burnout. So
Is there a moment for us, is this a place where we could also reflect, bring up questions or something?
yeah, sure, go for it. Looking forward.
So I have a wonder if there would be value in reintroducing a time limit for comments of the board and then possibly circling back. Sure. Because I sometimes wonder if there are times that voices had similar questions, but they were already asked. And I'm not a fan of like reiterating the same thing.
Yeah.
And so if we had like a respectable time limit, it doesn't have to be like 2 minutes, but like an amount of time that would just be like, okay, pass the baton. I wonder if we would hear questions from more voices. And then practice, those of us who maybe have less time in the trenches would be practicing those skills as well, as opposed to possibly being like, I got it. Because we have two very experienced voices at the table, apparently.
So we talk too much.
I think that I would be on a lot of information.
Yeah.
And sometimes
No, I know.
we
I'm
talk
kidding.
for a long time, right?
All of us sometimes do, yeah, when we have areas of interest. We could, how do
I
people
think
feel about that?
And I'm just putting it out there now.
Use a timer? We've never been effective with timers.
Well, that would be a growth opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
how do
also,
people feel
I'm
about
just gonna
that?
point it out there that this meeting is going to come in at about, God bless me if I say this and screw it up, like the 2-hour mark, and yet the agenda itself would have suggested that it would have come in far after that.
Yeah,
Well, it's planned till 7:50, but you're right.
Yeah.
Really gets.
but I mean, that's part of why this agenda is like this, because we knew these topics would
Sure.
engender lively discussion.
Would it exist already and just like a point of order and asking the chair to like, cause it's within Carla's powers to, right, to kind of like moderate? Or would that make you feel like that what you're?
I mean,
Maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah, we could,
But on the
I guess
agenda,
if we,
it's governance, right, or what would it be?
yeah, but if we think that a time, I mean, I'm wondering if Katie and Chris have feelings one way or the other.
This is preview planning, so it's not.
We shoot cards points, like the questions get answered either way, but
Yeah.
like there's entire, minutes where my name's really not in it, cause you guys have asked everything I would have asked. And so like, if someone just paused through the minutes and they aren't watching the videos, they're like, oh, was Katie there? She was.
Oh.
Was she?
Yeah.
We could start with you guys.
I try to rotate. I always rotate on the
But also
start.
we could just maybe institute something for a time. Okay, we are not supposed to be discussing this right now, because this is preview and planning.
No, this is planning.
Well,
This is exactly what planning, just this is
For
for chair
agenda.
administration. Do we, because I always try to start,
This is great, and I love that we rotate.
yeah.
But actually,
What-
if you're.
What did Chris say?
Oh, I didn't say anything. No, I feel like the way that you rotate, we all get our moment or whatever.
And also
To ask
you
the
guys,
first questions. And
Yeah.
sometimes questions do get asked already, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that.
Well, I was last and I took up a lot of time in the disability conversation, even though lots of my questions got asked. So to your point, I still was taking up air and space. Even though many of my questions had been asked, so a time limit
well,
or
sometimes
something
when you guys say, well,
would
like
fix that
to
too.
inspire a question, also. There's, it could go either way. Questions get answered either way, but to Card's point, like, if it's all the same class.
It's a skill development opportunity, I think. And also I think we are much better than when I originally went on the school board where I felt like there was this habitual re-asking or repeating, and it was like, why, we already stated this, we need to say it again.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of that, like, I'm a big fan of, like, no, I don't think we do anymore.
Yeah.
But I think we should all consider if a time limit, and it could be a generous time limit, but once you hit it, like, hey, it's time to pass through the time, because we got there.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it like
We will come back if
collectively,
it doesn't get.
if we think it's gonna be a
Right, it
heady,
would come back around, right?
if it's gonna be a heady topic. That's a good time to do it, because we always go over.
Well, you build it into the agenda with a time frame, so once you get.
We don't
follow that.
But maybe that's how we do it,
That's true.
because that's what I'm saying, if we begin to monitor the agenda items again, then
Yeah.
once the presentation is done.
We know how
have-
much
we
time
have
we
slated
have.
time
That's the way to do
to
it.
talk.
We'll try,
It's the way to do it to a point,
Yeah.
but if, like, then
Because
we have to
if
be.
you're doing that, then let's
Well,
say
Carla,
the two people who have a lot to say are the first two people.
No, you
Then we
say,
get time.
time.
no, you say there's 12 minutes to discuss, so everybody can have two,
Right.
no, 12 divided by 5,
And-
you know what?
And you can always give your, I can always give my time up if I don't have anything interesting to say and I want you to keep talking or, you know,
Mhm.
that's easily doable.
It was
We can work
something
on
that.
it.
also friend you. It's just making practice.
And I'm not asking for that to happen.
No, I'm
It's
just
just
saying,
saying,
it's
like,
just a
it's
more of a
wondering.
It's a good.
I wouldn't want that, because then the stuff that you ask and the stuff that you bring up, like trigger something, and I'm like, yeah, I would like to ask that when it's my turn. But other times it's just like, oh, they already asked everything, so we're good.
Yes, I really like the rotation.
That's huge,
Good.
yeah, that was a huge equity.
Right.
Thank you. So, okay, yeah, we'll try that.
Get back to me.
Yeah, I'm no good at cutting people off. Someone will have to help me.
Sometimes you get me real good.
I'm always joking.
Arms like,
Right.
no,
I never ding dong anyone. All right, there's one last motion to be made.
Second.
Motion by Danielle Bailey, second by Karen Cronwell to adjourn. All in favor? Aye, motion is adjourned.
It's also a push to like maybe express some things. In advance.